Hello, how are you tonight? Hope you're doing really well. I'm doing all good. We are in a bit of a heat wave at the moment in the UK right now. It is, what is it? I think like today it was 27, but like right now it's probably about 16, maybe less, maybe 13. But like it's still quite warm for an evening. So I have got this lovely sort of summery cardigan on, but it may end up, it may get a bit warm. So we'll just have to see. But yes, it's been a really nice day. We are still job hunting, so we are not having the best of luck, but we are striving. We are all good for now, so we just need to crack on. But yeah, we're fine for now. Hope you guys are doing all right. So this evening I thought it might be fun to talk about sitcoms. I am such a sitcom girly. I live and breathe sitcoms. I mean, I say I live and breathe them. I was kind of going through like my list, and then I was just thinking, I'm like, am I forgetting about any? And I was going through them, and there were some that I'd forgotten and I was putting them through, but then there were loads obviously that I have not watched, not gotten myself into. So I can't say like I'm a die-hard sitcom man. I've watched every single one of them, and I'm to the point where there are like big ones I know that are out there that I have not watched, that if there are people watching this, they may scream at me like, how on earth can you be a sitcom girl and you've not watched that? Oh, I just realised I'm not being soft speaking anymore. Let's go back to soft speaking. I'm new to this. Okay. Yeah, so I figured that I would just like review some of my favourites, and open up a chat for any other opinions or any other sitcoms perhaps that you think, Hayley, you have to watch them. Like, how have you not watched them yet? So let's start off. So what I thought I would do is start with kind of like my absolute favourites, and then kind of go into one kind of category of like British ones, and then like animated ones, because most of the ones that I'm going to talk about to start with are American. I just love most of those ones the most, but there are a couple of absolute classic British ones that I cannot not, I've watched in entirety, and so I could not miss them. But there's obviously a smaller amount of them compared to the American ones. And then an animated is also all American, but they're animated, so it's like a slightly different category. So yeah, we'll just separate them, but we'll talk about the first ones to start with. So I think the first one that I have to mention, no matter what, just kind of by default, it's like the most default one that comes to mind, is Friends. Friends is an all-time favourite. It was probably, it's not the first, or maybe it was the first adult sitcom that I started watching. I was a Nickelodeon and a Disney Channel girl. I'm 97 born, so I sort of grew up in the era of like Disney Channel, Selena, Miley, Demi, and then like Ariana, Victoria, like all of them lot from Nickelodeon. Like I sort of just grew up in that era, so I loved the sitcoms very early on because of those shows, I guess, and so then when I got a bit old, when I got like 12, 13, I started pivoting a little bit more to those kind of just a little bit more grown up shows. I was definitely, Friends was the first one. So Friends, I think I discovered my mum's video, like VHS tapes that she had, and she only owned from seasons 1 to 6, and I, just being born at that time, didn't realise there were more than 6 seasons. I thought there was only 6, and we had an old videotape player, so I was like, Mum, can I watch them? And she was like, yeah, sure. So I was watching them, and I just absolutely got hooked, absolutely adored the shows so much. And then it was the first sort of box set that I received, and anyway, so yeah, absolutely adore Friends. Just can't fault it. I mean, as the years go by and more younger people kind of start watching it, you do get like a wave of opinions that come through. The whole sort of Ross situation, I do completely understand. Ross was not a good boyfriend. He was not, he just wasn't. He was just very insecure, and he took it out on Rachel. And I didn't love that they ended up together. I think it kind of was, it was still a bit like oh yeah, but they're like die hard. But like, I think in this era, we would not have been hoping for that at all. I think Ross did truly love Rachel, but she just didn't know how to stand up for herself enough. And that's not her fault, but like, it is his fault. But he did love her. I think he still loved her. He just was so insecure about it and would do things to sabotage her life, which is not the greatest at all. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. However, he has learned from his mistakes. I think the problem with a lot of these shows is that I realise I'm not soft speaking anymore. Okay, hold on. I think a lot of the problems with like some of these shows is when, you know, you have stories that have been written for those characters, and then they kind of die. Like, they didn't die, but like, we never got to watch them ever again after season 10. So you don't know if he's evolved, if like in these days he's evolved, or if these days he's learnt from his mistakes or done things to amend those mistakes and things like that. You know, what is he like as a boyfriend or perhaps a husband to Rachel now? You know, is it amazing? Is he like an absolute amazing husband or boyfriend or whatever to Rachel? We won't know that because it's not a written story. Do you know what I mean? So I feel bad in a way that he gets kind of like held on to those problems. It's a fictional character. It doesn't exist, obviously. He doesn't exist. So it's not like we're affecting someone's life, but it's just one of those things. I think I just sometimes want to defend Ross because he's one of the friends, isn't he? And I think I just always wanted that close-knit group of friends, the unconditional kind of love. And so sometimes I have that feeling of like, oh, but you know, but he probably would make amends, because I wouldn't want him to like leave the group. I wouldn't want us to think, well, no, it's just the five of us lot and not Ross because he's a dick. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe that's a me thing, you know. So but overall he was terrible. But yeah, no, absolutely loved Friends. I could talk about Friends forever. I did do another video where I read the whole episode guide from my box set, and it was really interesting to sort of read like the original pitch that they had created for the show before like they'd even created the script. I guess that's what happens. And it was really interesting to sort of read it and then go through the episodes and kind of realise you're talking about the entire story in just 2.5 hours. So yeah, that was good. But anyway, and the next one that always reminds me of Friends, because I feel like it's quite similar, is How I Met Your Mother. Absolutely love How I Met Your Mother. I would still say I love Friends more, because I think for me How I Met Your Mother just got a little bit too coupley. Like, I'm much more addicted to the kind of friendships than I am romantic relationships. So in How I Met Your Mother, you know, you obviously always had Marshall and Lily, even though they had their spouts, but like most of the time they were like die-hard couple, and then it was just this love triangle between the other three. And so while that's nice, it would have been nicer if there could have just been more like just die-hard mates. Yeah, it's just not for me. I'm just not super, like, I still love the show, but that's probably why I like Friends a little bit more. You know, Phoebe and Joey, for example, never, I mean, this is the thing I'm saying, I didn't like the coupley, you know, Ross and Rachel and Joey, Monica and Chandler, like they all started a little bit. I think maybe it's because I relate a lot to like Phoebe, and Phoebe didn't get with anybody in the group, you know, and same with Joey. I'm also kind of I also love Joey, and while he may have like had attractions, and I know he did for Rachel as well, so that was a whole thing, but it wasn't like this massive part of the show. So yeah, like but yeah, anyway, How I Met Your Mother. But the life lessons that Ted, like the voiceover, lays down throughout it is brilliant. Are brilliant. They do sometimes, like, I have watched them thinking like, oh yeah, and like even now after I've watched it for so many years, just like even now and again, it's like even now and again, like as I grow up and enter this sort of time that's similar to theirs now, is like, oh, now that makes sense. Now that thing that he says makes sense, because I had never experienced it before because I was just younger and it wasn't at their time. Whereas now I'm entering that time. Like, how old were they? They were like 27, 28 or something when that show was season 1, and I'm 29. So it's like I'm feeling that start of like that show. So certain lessons like are being said and I'm like, oh, right, that resonates now. So yeah, and then, but all-time favorite character of the show would probably be Barney. Neil Patrick Harris, what do we do to deserve? But the way he plays this absolutely like horny womanizer is beyond me. I quote him all the time. He's so funny. And then I think Marshall is my ideal man. Like, not even like the look of Jason Segel, because Jason Segel, chef's kiss, but that man, that character in general. Like, I don't know Jason Segel, so I don't know what he's like in person. But Marshall, are you kidding me? Like, I'm the kind of person, I am a crosswords person, and I'm like, the way he creates board games for them to play, absolute class. The way he like loves Lily's birthday more than she loves it. Are you kidding me? Like, he's just really animated and like a bit manic sometimes, and I love that. I would love someone I think that would match my energy, if not exceed it. And I think he just seems like fun. And then from the superficial point of view, yes, he is a very attractive man as well. But yeah, so I think I always say to people, like, when they say like, oh, what kind of guy would you like? I'm like, Marshall Erickson. Like, if he genuinely exists anywhere in the world, like the actual guy, him, basically. But yeah, so anyway, How I Met Your Mother, class show, love that one. Should we do ratings? Let's do ratings. Let's do out of 10. So Friends, I'd say 9 out of 10. I'd say 9. I would only remove a star just out of pure Ross. That would literally be it. But other than that, absolute one of my favourite shows of the world. How I Met Your Mother, probably an 8. Again, like, still really high. Maybe it just takes away a couple of points because it is just a little bit. But I mean, I guess the point of it is How I Met Your Mother. It's very this romantic story. Oh, and then how they like ended it as well was awful. Like, that is so that's probably why it loses a star as well. Like, the mother, Tracy, was so awesome. I loved her. And it was just, I don't know, it's the point of it, but it was just such a weird ending. Like, they didn't have to kill her off, and yeah, it was just an odd ending. So anyway, yeah, so we'll move on from that. Apologies for my microphone pop filter. It is covered in cat hair. It doesn't even fit on this microphone. So the story is with this microphone is I just found it in my mum's loft. I don't know, she doesn't remember why it's there. The general vibe is my dad passed away a couple of years ago, and the general story always is, if we find something in the loft that we have no idea why it was there, Dad bought it, and we can't ask him why he bought it. And I'm like, Mum, why did you just not know? And she went, no, sometimes he just bought stuff. So I was like, can I have it? She goes, yeah, of course. And then I didn't think about it for ASL. This was like a couple of years ago. And then I forgot about it, and then I was moving recently, and it was like, oh, I forgot about this mic. Let's see if it's good enough for ASMR. And I think it's alright. I think it's good. Don't know if you can hear any of me peeling off these hairs. But then yeah, I have the fluffiest cat. Like, I have the absolute fluffiest cat in the world. Like, she's such a big fluff ball, and she molts like crazy, and there is just hair everywhere on every. But yes, anyway, I'm also blind, but if I put my glasses on, you get the fun of the ring light, and it's really annoying and distracting, so we take it off. So my next one, I don't know if I'm going to vote this. It'll either be a 9 or it'll either be a 10, and it may be the only 10 on the list. I'm not sure, we'll have to get into it, but this is probably it's becoming one of my all-time favourite. I always thought it was Friends, and Friends I've watched for longer, and I still have I can't, pick who comes first in some of these instances. However, this next show is one of my absolute favourites, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Now, I sort of shorten it because it's a long title. I shorten it to just Sunny. Sunny is one of the most genius written shows in the world. It is so incredibly funny. It is much more popular these days, but like, I started watching it about 6 or 7 years ago with my friends, and because we realised we had the same humour, and we were watching it, and oh my god, like, it is just so funny. It's really dark. I say it's really dark. It is dark. Yeah, it is dark. It is dark humour. It's just, but the whole point is it's got South Park energies to the point of like, it's supposed to be offensive. So, it's not for everyone. Completely understand. It is not going to be for everyone. I love offensive shows. I don't know why. I think I love them because it's supposed to be offensive. Like, it highlights what is offensive. So it's like, if you agree with anything that they're talking about, you're probably not on the right side, if that makes sense. You're probably a bit disrespectful if you think that they're genuine. Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of energy. So, but it means that because these characters are the most flawed, narcissistic, awful people in the world, it means that they have this like playground where they can just say, and they can have these like debates and arguments about like topics of the world. They can kind of openly talk about them in the worst way, because that's the point. They are offensive. So I think it's genius, honestly. But when they're not talking about like big topics of the world as well, like, they're just so funny. The acting is insane. I mean, I think the best actor, I don't know. They're all amazing. They're all amazing actors. I was going to say I think the best one is Glenn, as in who plays Dennis. I mean, are you joking? Like, to have that serial killer energy about him is just, but it's so funny. And I've watched so many of the bloopers, and I quote Dennis so much. And there's like an episode in one of their later seasons, I think like season 16 or something, where he is on a mental health day, and he starts getting a bit angry about like how modernized the world has become, where like you can't hire a car without like downloading an app on your phone to like unlock the car, and you can't buy coffee from a place without downloading the app so that you can pay with your phone instead of and it's the one episode I really sympathize with Dennis. And I've showed it to so many people. I'm like, oh my god, have you watched that episode? Because it's the one time you're actually going to feel so, like, you're going to feel like for Dennis. And like, I've showed it to friends, and he went, oh my god, that's me. Like, the anger that's so true. Like, the world has gotten crazy with the amount of like apps you have to download, and how like they're trying to make it easier, and it just makes it even worse. And anyway, my point to this is Glenn Howerton, oh my goodness. But Charlie Day is just a freaking weirdo and amazing. But I love Caitlin Olsen as well, who plays Dee. I would say probably that Mac or like Rob is not the best actor in the sense of compared to the others. And I don't think he would like have a problem saying that either, because he creates the show. Like, he can write the show really well. Like, he created the concept, and I think he is such a hard worker when it comes to that. Like, he's so committed and devoted. I don't think he would mind me saying that. Like, I think the others do just lead in their just like their facial expressions and voices and things like that. Yeah, just brilliant. But and then obviously the king of all kings, Danny DeVito. We love Danny DeVito. So yeah, that has got to be one of my all-time favourites. I may, if I'm not embarrassed enough, I may actually not. I'll just cut this out if not, but I may post a picture right now of me and my two friends. We dressed up as the Nightman Cometh for Halloween, and I was the Nightman. And it's really bad. Like, it's I mean, I think it's good, but I don't look very good. But I'll pop that on the screen if I'm feeling brave. If not, whole bit will have been cut. But absolutely love that show. I hope it goes on forever. I think we're all kind of like aware of Danny DeVito's age, and we're all sort of like, okay, well, wonder how long the show's going to go on. Like, I wonder if they've written or even recorded the last episode, and then that will just be in the bank, just waiting, and then they'll just do episodes and episodes until DeVito passes, and then they'll release that one as like the last episode, because I can imagine them thinking that would be like the best way to end it, is when he gets to that, because he's like 80. Is he 80? I think he's 80 or 81 maybe. Like, he's getting up there, you know, so, and you never know, so hopefully he goes on for another 20-30 years, you know. I really do hope so, but you just never know. When you get to like, I think when you get to 80, it now becomes very, the wind could blow, you know. I don't know, so I'm sure everybody's kind of aware of that. I really hope that's not the case. I really hope he goes on for like another 20-30 years. So yes, anyway, we move on, because this episode's going to get long. What's next? Okay, The Office. Now, I am from England. There are two of The Office. There is the UK one, which is the original, and there is the US one. Now, I have watched little bits of the British one. Was not for me. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry to anybody who stands the British version. I'm really sorry. I mean, I stand them for creating the concept, but I gotta love the American one. I absolutely love the American one. I mean, are you kidding me? Steve Carell, just to start with, is, I hate Michael, I'm not gonna lie. Like, loads of people, I think, kind of love him in a, like, oh, but he means well kind of way. And I'm like, nope, he is rude and a child, and he is whiny, and he just cares about himself, and he just has to make everything about himself, and it really, really winds me up. Like, every time I see it, it's like, oh my god, can you just sit down? Do you know how much people will love you? Like, you want to be loved so much. Do you realise how much they'll love you even more if you just shut up? Sometimes it really winds me up. However, the actor is insane, amazing actor. I love all of the actors on there. I feel it is a really funny show. Love me some Jim. Jim and Pam are cute. I do love them. I loved it more when they got together. I think Pam was super kind of in her shell, and sort of, and she like lightens, she like wears more colours and things like that, like finally when she's with Jim. So I do like that. I love Ryan and Kelly. I think they are such a funny, like, more in the acting, again, like the characters are flawed, but I think they're so funny. Dwight, yeah, Angela is such a okay, but I love Oscar. Yeah, I love all of them. Yeah, they're all great. It's a good show. I do put that on repeat a lot. let's say The Office gets a 6 out of 10. And that's not even in a sense of like there's anything remotely bad about it at all, that it gets like a low score. It's more of just, it's in the middle for me. It's like comfy and nice, but I don't know it word for word. I don't know it like the way Billie Eilish knows it. Like it's a comfy one for me, but I'm not a diehard fan of it. And it's kind of still new to me. Like I've only started watching it in the last like 2 or 3 years. So yeah, so 6, probably a 6. What's next? Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Wow, that is probably a 9 out of 10. Absolutely, if not 10 out of 10. In fact, I'll give it a 9 out of 10, because Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I mean, is still to this day one of the absolute best shows written with the sort of sense of diversity. It was always just about their personalities. That was where the comedy came from, and it was so good. So, absolutely adore Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah, it was such a good series that it kind of kept getting better as the seasons went on. So, you know, at first you obviously have the sort of, we've got to set out the characters and see what we like about them, things like that, and then you start sort of getting into character relationships and starting to develop those arcs, and then you get certain stories that would prolong episodes rather than containing them in just one episode. So like when Jake and Rosa were like being busted to go to prison, and then their whole prison sentence and things like that, that was all kind of over about 5 or 6 episodes. And so it's things like that. Like I like kind of loads of those ones. The only thing was just the final season. Now I think they did well because of what was going on in the world. Was it 2020? Was it 2021? Something like that. Obviously it was a police show, and I know obviously police in the United States was not the easiest of topics to kind of cover, especially from a comedy point of view. I can imagine that was a really hard thing for the writers to have to figure out how to do that well, so that it was still funny but like dealt with those topics. So I appreciate that it was a really hard thing for them to have to do. I think they handled it well, but I think because it wasn't kind of directly, because it was a kind of dark situation, it was hard to make that funny. So it wasn't that funny, and unfortunately that was just the way that show had to end, which makes complete sense, but it wasn't my favourite sort of ending of a show. The idea of Jake, I hope I'm not I'm going to put like spoilers ahead just in case, but like with Jake leaving the force just made no sense. I know the whole point, I do know the premise and all of that, but it just did not sit. It just didn't feel correct. Like the idea of Boyle still staying on as a cop and not Jake, it just was odd. It was really strange. Like, and I know he's a dad and all of that, and I don't know whether it was this idea, I don't know, just I didn't understand it. I feel like they could have easily looked after Mac together. I know there was an episode on that, they were struggling with it, but I don't know, it just didn't quite work. I just thought it was an odd ending to the show, but they had to end it somehow, and I do get it. So yeah, I think the saddest part about the whole thing was Holt. Obviously, rest in peace, Andre. What an amazing actor. I would have absolutely adored, and someone made this up, but I don't know whether it spread around, or I'm not sure, but either way I remember seeing it about this idea that someone had about a spin-off series of Holt's time as a detective in the 70s, because all those flashbacks of him in the 70s just looked so fun. Like, they looked so good, and like the way he was like, what's it, who's it, what's his name, I can't remember his name, from like all the action movies of the olden days. Clyde, no. was his name? Oh, that's gonna bug me. Clint Eastwood. Clive. Clint Eastwood with the punk. Yeah, that was it. It was so good. Was that Clint Eastwood? Or is that just Dirty Harry? Is that just one film he's done it in? I think so. I'm not sure. Okay, but anyway, yeah, that would have been such a good series. But yeah, he passed away. So if what was to be did. I can't speak anymore. What is happening? It's too late. I film these late because we like it to be dark, and I have too much natural light in my flat for it to be like, it's ASMR, like, in the middle of the day. So I like to do it at night, but it means I'm really tired. So I just keep yawning. Maybe the yawn will help you all go to sleep too. Right, what's next? That 70s show. That 70s show now. I do love now. But it's been ruined, unfortunately, which is another reason why you probably won't see it on many streaming services. At least in the UK, we don't. I don't know about other places of the world, but in the UK, it's not really available on any streaming services that I'm aware of. At least it used to be on Netflix, and then it got removed because I won't go into it, so you can look it up yourself. A certain cast member, yeah, bad stuff, so we don't talk about that. But it's such a shame when this happens, because it does ruin it. And I remember I have watched it since, and I've tried to look past it, and I have in certain places. I've tried to just completely look past it and just focus on just the character and that, because it was such a good show. But it is hard to watch it again. However, but if we ignore that just for a moment, the show, the writing was brilliant. I just loved it. It was such a good sort of show of that. Again, it was kind of like certain writings of that probably wouldn't be able to be played today. So I remember they redid it, or not redid it, but they did a second, a modern day sort of take on it. But I say a modern day take, it was still it was that 90s show, but it was set it was done now, 5 years ago or something. I think it only did 2 seasons or something. And it was trying to be but it's them in the 90s. But there was something about the way that it was in the 90s and they were writing about the 70s. There was just a tone of it that had, I don't want to say offensive. It's not the right word. I think it's just perhaps a little bit touchy in some things, and it might promote different things these days that might not be the best, things like that. I don't know, but there was such an innocence to it, and I think it just seemed like kids wrote it in a way, the way that they would daydream about getting high, and the way that the boys would daydream about boobs. And I know, and this is the thing, and I understand why that wouldn't be able to be played today or written today, because it's kind of promoting this idea that, oh yeah, as men you should only be thinking about boobs or something. Smarter people can probably look into better context than me, but to me, I watch it going, no, but that's what boys are like they just are, and it almost feels written by them as well, rather than I'm assuming adults wrote the show. Mila Kunis as Jackie is brilliant, because at first, the first episode, I was she's a bitch, why on earth is she in the show? But she was so good in it, she just made it she was that girl. It was just very she's a bitch, but she just knows what she wants, and I kind of want to be her. And she has so many good quotes and bits, and yeah, absolutely love that show. Yeah, I do love it, and I think I actually love the parents a lot, even probably more now, Red and Kitty. I absolutely Kitty is just the mum you want to have / the mum you want to be. I would say the parent that you want to be. All parents of any gender should be Kitty. Red just has quotable lines. He's not the best parent at all, but he is very funny without trying to be funny. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I do love that show. I kind of miss it in a way, but yeah, just such a shame. So probably give that one a 5 out of 10 because it's a good one. It's sort of like it's just a fun one. It's not serious. It kind of is like really not serious. So yeah, I like that one. What is next? It's gonna be a long video. I've got a lot on here. I'm also really blind, so I can't see my iPad. Okay. Community. I'm currently rewatching Community. I love Community. It gives Brooklyn Nine-Nine a little bit with the diversity. Although I think that the Community was written for diversity, whereas Brooklyn wasn't. They just did like people that were perfect for the roles that were just ended up being diverse. But I think Community was kind of written to specifically be diverse. That was the point of it, because the idea of community is people of all these different, from all different backgrounds, from all different ages and whatnot, you know, everything. So that was the point. But it works. It's a really good show. I do love me some Joel McHale. Even today, like, you know, obviously there is an age difference, but yeah, that's a hot man. That is a hot man. I actually love Britta. I'm sorry. She starts out as like the hot one, and then she becomes this like insufferable woman. Are you kidding me? I absolutely adore her. She's so annoying, but she never quits on herself. Like, she always, I don't know, she'll never like let you make her feel bad about it. Like, I mean, to a certain extent, there are episodes where she is made to feel bad, but like, she always comes at the other end, and yeah, I do love her. I love them all. Abed is my probably favourite character. I mean, but like Troy, Donald Glover, are you kidding me? Like, I mean, they're all just so good. Troy and Abed in the morning. I do that. I quote that one a lot as well. Yeah, Shirley's awesome as well. Yeah, Pierce is probably the only one that's not as missed, just gonna say. But he was a lightning rod to have dysfunction in the first 3 seasons. In the sort of later ones, when they all start to move and change around a bit, doesn't get so as good. I tend to rewatch seasons 1 to like 4, and then if I end up, you know, you just randomly are just watching 5 and 6, they're just not as good. Like, they did their best, but yeah, the first sort of lot, the original 7, Chang is just absolutely hilarious. I've watched the actor before. I first was introduced to him from the Hangover movies, and he is just chaotic and amazing. He's so funny. I love the Dean. I love the way they get really meta with the sort of storylines as well, which I find really funny. And I love like the dramatization of, like, those are my favourite episodes, the really dramatic versions of really simple things, like when they had the paintball fight, but they literally record it like this absolute battle to the death, and they're like proper fighting with guns, and like there's safety, and I think it's so funny. And then I just watched the episode in like season 3 or 4 or something, with Troy and Abed. They start fighting. They're like, I can't remember what starts off the fight, but they're fighting or something. Anyway, but it starts of like, oh, Abed wants to make a pillow fort, and then Troy wants to make a blanket fort, and they start fighting over who wants to do which one. And so then they just say, well, I'm going to make my blanket fort, I'm going to make my pillow fort, and then they end up somehow dividing the entire school into making a blanket fort and a pillow fort. And there's an episode that is literally filmed like a documentary of a war, and it's so, like, the way that they've literally got, like, there's humanitarian aid over there, like she's just like getting rid of feathers off their bodies. So, like, I just love the dramatization of it. It's just so fun. So yeah, love that show. It's a really, really good show. As I say, I think my rating would probably be a 5 or a 6, because I do love the show, but I only love half the show. I think the last half of it, where they lose characters, it's just not as good. I think even Arbid addresses this in the last sort of episode or last season, because it is like you've got all these characters leaving. So how is it even the original show anymore? Because you didn't have Pierce, Shirley, or Troy, and then started replacing them with people, and that's always such a weird, like, I've never loved that when that happens. It's like weird to introduce these new characters. I get why they do it, but it just doesn't call for a good season when you've just replaced someone. Same with like Michael Scott with The Office, when they replaced him with, well, he left, so then they had Will Ferrell for a bit, and then I can't remember his name, but like another guy, and then they had Andy. At least we all knew him, but it was never the same. Everybody says that, don't they? When you have your original cast, it's magic, it's chemistry, it just works in the way that you've intended it. And when someone breaks that, this is why, again, with like Friends and like How I Met Your Mother, I absolutely love that. Same with Sunny in Philadelphia as well. They've kept the original cast from the absolute start, so there's just no break of that initial chemistry, if that makes sense. So that's a good formula. You should find the chemistry of these actors. This is another thing, going completely a little bit off topic, but like I always have this, not theory, but like I have this opinion about like the way that they cast for like shows these days and films and things like that, and they kind of care more about like follower count. I saw this interview, it was a while ago, but like I saw this interview with Maya Hawke, like Robin from Stranger Things. She was being interviewed or something, or she was on a panel, and she was talking about how this producer was like, I think she was saying she wanted to delete her TikTok or something, and this producer went, you know, you're free to do that, but my job, I have to like accumulate all these actors, and I have to base it off of their I have to get a certain pool of follower counts. So if you remove yours, that's now, I need to now make it up by getting people who have, you know, 100,000 more than, or whatever you had. It was like, seriously, so you don't cast them based on chemistry? Like, isn't that what all the people tell you that we want? But I don't know, like, I'm not smart enough, I don't know that industry, I don't know whether, I think that I want to see chemistry, but maybe I wouldn't watch the show if I'd never heard of one of the actors. And I have done that before. I will admit that I will look and be like, oh, they're in this, I'm going to watch that. But yeah, but I think when you get chemistry, it's lightning in a bottle, and it's so amazing when you get people with good chemistry. If you can save that, and then I'm hoping that when you have good chemistry, you as people, like the actors as people, get on as well. Like, we've seen it with Friends, they all are besties even now. I mean, at least the girls are. Like How I Met Your Mother, some of them have started like starring in each other's like shows. I saw like Robin was on Jason Segel's show. What's it called? Shrinking? No, can't remember what it's called, but anyway. But yeah, like, they're all friends. Sunny in Philadelphia, they are all virtually family. You got Mac and Dee are married. You've got Charlie and the waitress are married. You've got, yeah, like, they're virtually family, all of them. So, do you know what I mean? Chemistry. Like, if you count for chemistry, you're gonna have such an amazing show, because we all are addicted to that. But when you just get some of these shows and you watch them and they just lose the chemistry, and then when they get shows where, you know, I appreciate people do want to leave and that, but it's so hard to replace that, because you've almost like lost someone, and then it's like you're trying to fill their shoes, even if you're not trying to be that character. It just doesn't work. It's not the chemistry that we were promised originally. So anyway, that's my hot take. Let's move on from that. But yeah, so I think Community gets, what did I say, 6 out of 10? Yeah, 6 out of 10. 2 broke girls. 2 broke girls. 2 broke girls. 1 broke girl here. But 2 broke girls. Love me some 2 broke girls. I always watch that and feel motivated / inspired. Like, I think it's just this they are they're just workaholics. I want to say workaholics, not in the sense that they love work, but they commit to it. But they're just besties as well, and I just love that, and I would love that. I would love it if me and my bestie would do that, and I've chatted with her about this as well in the past, and she said the same thing. But it's much harder in real life to like find money to do things like that. But either way, the show in general just makes me like be like, oh, it's just so cute to like have a bestie and then like do a business together, and then you're just having fun. Like they're just having fun all the time. I love the way that the show sort of depicts like the fact that they don't have that many outfits. I think it's one of the best parts of the show is that you don't have them wearing a different outfit every single episode. It's like, no, they're broke. She wears the same necklace every day. So yeah, no, I love that show. And I love the sort of way that they show having a small business as well, and sort of showing how, you know, it is up and down, up and down, up and down. It is not just like this one line of like, you know, we're going to start it, and then we're going to have a little bit of money, and then we're going to do a viral video, and then we're going to get really famous, and then it's going to work, and then we're done. Like, I think it's really well done, the way that they, like, I can't remember the exact storyline, but it's like they get it, and they show the money at the end of each episode that they've accumulated, and then something happens and they've had to spend some of that money, and then they crack on, and they get a bit more money, and then something happens, and then they lose all their money, and then they're in loads of debt, and then they pay off that debt, and then it's like, do we give up? No, let's go back again. And it's like they are starting from the beginning with money wise, but then in a way that they've gone through loads of experience. So, but I just think it's so realistic, and I just think that is really nice to sort of see that they didn't show this like business where it only succeeded. It really like had their moments where they failed. They had to start up at a new place, you know, they had to change the idea a little bit here and there to figure out what was going to be best, you know. They just never gave up. I think the only thing I would have loved more is in the last episode you got Max is like hanging out. She's met a guy that actually is going to be great for her, and she gets proposed to, and that's kind of the end part of that show, is that like Caroline was like in a movie, or there was a movie about her life, and that's how she got paid loads of money. And then Max gets proposed to, and the guy she's marrying is like rich as well, and that I really didn't love at all, because to me it was like, so you worked all this time, this entire show was based on you having this cupcake business, and then the reason you got money was because of your rich person life, Caroline, which was before the show. We've kind of gotten rid of all that part of you and seen you work to become the person that you are, and then that's how you get rich. Or you got rich again based on the life of your story. Because you sold it for a movie. And then Max, it's like you met a guy who was rich. I was like, come on, seriously? Like, we can't actually show that it was the cupcake business. So yeah, I wasn't happy about that ending. I thought it was just such a cop-out. I thought it could have been something, even if they sold the business, like anything like that, it would have been, at least it was their business that got them like really successful, rather than other things. It just didn't really flow. I didn't like that. I didn't understand why. It's like the whole premise of your show was that they were two broke girls starting a business, and the only reason they got like rich again was just nothing to do with that business. I thought it was like really strange. But other than that, it's a good comfort show. I do like that one. I'll probably give that one a 6 out of 10. So yeah, but that is a good one. Right, what's next? Superstore I do love me a bit of America Ferrera, I think that's how you say her name. Love a bit of her. I love a bit of, I don't know his name though, but Jonah is the man candy. Well, is he the man candy? He's not like man candy, but he's the romantic lead to Amy in the show. I love Garrett. Garrett's probably my favourite character in the whole thing, but I also love Dina. Dina gives, like, the way I was saying with Jackie from That 70s Show, like, she's a bit of a bitch, but she's so funny, and she's the most unapologetic character I think I've ever witnessed. Like, she's so, yeah, she's awesome. I love Dina, but maybe that's why I love Garrett, because he's really just laid back and funny. But I love all of them. Again, it gives me like Community vibes, because they're all different ages and genders and races and things like that, so they just mix and they're just funny. And Mateo and Cheyenne, love them as a duo, they're so funny. I mean, I love all of them, they're so funny. Again, just like a really good comfort show. I feel like I'm just going to be really quick with that one. I think I'll give that a 5 out of 10. And again, it's not because it's bad. I don't think anything here is going to get anything less than a 5. It's not because it's bad, it's just I'm not like die hardcore fan, like, you know, where there's like really great episodes and there's great, you know, just the chemistry is great. It's a good comfort show, good one to watch. What's next? 2.5 Men. Now, 2.5 Men, problematic. But again, is it because it's like that? I like some of that comedy where it's a little bit offensive, but it's kind of, the thing with that is it's kind of offensive, but in a way that they actually mean it. That's where it starts to get a bit tricky. Because obviously Charlie Sheen was a better actor, but I mean, I don't know what the drama was with all of that, like with the whole idea of what happened with him when he left the show. His acting was brilliant, it was so good, but I think he was kind of like his character. I think he was very misogynistic. I could be wrong, so I don't want to completely claim that or anything, but I think he was a little bit. So yeah, sometimes when it's like the way that they talk about the women isn't my favourite. I think this is the thing, I don't mind offensive stuff if it offends everybody, but when it's not really offending anyone, it's just offending like women as well, it's just like it starts to get a little bit tired and boring. So sometimes it got a little bit boring, but I did love the sort of I did love some of the humour in that. I loved Jake in the first few, because he's just so cute, but he's so funny as this like cute innocent boy who just is learning about not great subjects through his Uncle Charlie. I do love the way that Alan also became so much more like incompetent over the years, and so like a mooch, like such a mooch. Like, he didn't seem that way at first, he just seemed like he was having a hard time, he was divorced and he was just in bad luck, but then he never improved on himself, he got worse. He was like, no, I'm a mooch, and I almost proud of it, like he was almost proud of it, but without wanting to show that he was proud of it. Like, he would just constantly try and take from everybody. But I kind of loved that. I think it made it funnier. But anyway, yeah. Not everybody loved the Ashton Kutcher takeover. I didn't mind it, I'm not gonna lie. I like me a bit of Ashton Kutcher. It still wasn't as good, I'm sure, but like, I didn't hate it. So that's my take on that one. But yeah, I'd probably give 2.5 Men. In fact, that's probably the one where I'm gonna go like a 4 out of 10. Because like, it is a good one, I still do like it, but it's definitely not like a massive go-to one or anything, but like, I wouldn't like never watch it again sort of thing. So yeah, Schitt's Creek, man. Oh, rest in peace, Catherine O'Hara. Oh my goodness, such a good show, such a well-written show. Again, when you get good chemistry between people, it is amazing. Now obviously 2 of the actors are related, father and son, because son, oh my god, what is his name? I can't remember his actual name, but David is this character, was the actual like creator and writer of the show. Dan Levy, that's it, Dan Levy, and then his dad, Eugene Levy. But then Eugene and Catherine were like long before Dan was even born. Eugene and Catherine were like besties, working in entertainment for ages, and had great chemistry. So then all they needed was Alexis, and Alexis is just amazing. They had amazing chemistry, and she was brilliant. I loved her because, again, she just gave that snooty rich girl vibe, but then she was actually such a sweetheart. So yeah, a little bit of Alexis. We love that show. Oh god, David and what's his? I can't remember his name. Do I just forget people's names when it's late? David's husband. I can't remember his name. It's gonna bug me. But anyway, one of my favourite relationships. They were so cute. And yeah, I loved their little relationship. They were so cute together. I loved Stevie as well. She was quite funny. She had just bottles of sarcasm, which was great. But yeah, all round good show. I mean, there's so many quotable moments from Moira. I love Moira. That is such an accent as well. I mean, only Catherine O'Hara could do that one. But yeah, that's such a good show. That gets, I would say, an 8 out of 10. Probably out of pure, haven't watched tons of it. I wouldn't know it like word for word. I wouldn't say there's almost anything wrong with that one though. It's just more of I haven't been a diehard fan. The way like with Friends, again, it's probably like it's just it's not been a long time. Like it's probably been like the last 4 or 5 years I've watched that. But yeah, so I would say an 8 out of 10. That's such a good show. The Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory is an interesting one. I think I do find it funny. I haven't watched it in its entirety though. It's definitely when we're cooking dinner and TV's on sort of show. Like it's kind of in the background. It is funny in some moments. Jim Parsons as Sheldon is absolutely amazing, and he's the funniest one in my opinion. They all have their moments, but Sheldon is by far the funniest one. He is definitely very annoying. He's very, very annoying. His entitlement is infuriating, but in the sense of acting, in the sense of the character, best character. I think the comedy wasn't my absolute favourite. It was very tame, and I just felt like I mean, a lot of people have their issues, and they're completely valid with like the laugh track people. So like Friends as well would have like not a laugh track, they had an actual audience. I mean, so did most of them, but when they have like the live audience and you're like, and you remove it, it makes the thing not funny. And I do understand that, but the whole point is that you're kind of doing it to get a reaction, and you kind of just, rather than like, it's like, oh, it's only funny because everybody else is laughing. Like, I know what you're saying, but also I find so much of Friends so funny, whereas there's not a lot of Big Bang Theory that I find that funny. And then there would be like kills of laughter, and it was just like, what? I don't really get what was funny about that. It was just really, really tame. I love Penny though, like her expressions, like the actress as Penny was really, really good. And I do love it. I think it's got just good story, good little episodes. So yeah, that probably gets a 5 out of 10 from me. New Girl is a good one. I think New Girl, I remember watching New Girl, and that's when I was like, I'm gonna get the fringe. And I'm a brunette. I mean, who isn't? But like, I also wear glasses. Again, I'm not wearing them in this episode because the ring light is just annoying. And I do not look in any kind of way like that, but I definitely tried to start basing the vibe off from her. She's a gorgeous girl. I absolutely love Zooey Deschanel. Nick Miller as well gives off the idea of a man that I would love to a certain point, although I'm not gonna lie, I think the way he deals with money is mad to me, and I probably would get frustrated by that. But he's so funny and weird and just not a grown-up, and I love that. Winston is probably my absolute favourite. Because I actually really relate to him. Like, he got a cat and I've got a cat, and the way he like loves his cat I mean, I'm not that bad. I probably am not that bad, but I love Winston. And like, yeah, Schmidt is hilarious again. Like, Schmidt is this funny character where he kind of like balances the line of like toxic and healthy masculinity. Like, I don't know how the actor is amazing. Like, the way he's like, juggles this idea that he's this alpha male. Like, in 2026, he would have like one of these podcasts, but he is also somehow healthy in his masculinity, where he's like doing spa treatments in his kimono. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so funny. He's such a good one. I do love Cece as well. She's very, very sweet. But yeah, I think Winston's my absolute favourite of that show. So yeah, that's a good one. I'd probably give that a 7 out of 10. I'd say it's a favourite of mine, but I don't know it word for word or anything yet. So yeah, that's a good one. I do love that one. And I want to live in a loft like that. I mean, be great to live with your besties, but I've done it too many times at this point now. I've lived with people before. Unfortunately, it's really rare that you like the people that you're going to live with. It's really rare. I've seen many friends do it as well. It's really rare to live with people that you actually really, really like in all these shows, Friends and How I Met Your Mother and New Girl and all these shows where they live together and they're besties. They're absolute like couples to besties and whatnot. Is really rare, if not, does not happen. Just does not. And I've lived with too many people at this point now to think that will ever happen. No. So I want to live by myself. Or like be neighbours. Neighbours would be the best. Like, be neighbours with besties, because then it's like I could still have my own space, and then they could still come over. But like, it wouldn't have to be like just this gamble of like, are you gonna get along? Because I'll probably not. But I want their like apartment. It could be smaller if it was just for me, but a loft. I would love a loft with like the tall windows and like the brick. Yeah, that would be such a good apartment. But yeah, anyway, moving on. The King of Queens. King of Queens is like an older one. Like, it's just come up on Netflix in the UK, so I started watching it. Was not happy with the second episode of the entire show. First was fine, it was just kind of setting the scene. The second episode was just awful. It was just immediately about how this fat man is complaining that his skinny wife is perhaps starting to put on like a couple of pounds. It was like, are you joking me? And he's like going to have a word with her. I had to turn it off. I don't even remember. There might have been a moral of the story. There might have been like a redemption moment to that story. I couldn't watch it. I just couldn't. I had to turn it off because it was making me sick. Like, this woman is unbelievably hot. Like, such an attractive woman. So skinny. And he is not attractive, I'm sorry. And the way he was like, might have to have a word with her. And he's like, he picked her up and was like weighing her to see. And it was like, oh my God, I felt sick. So no, I'm trying to be like, these are the sitcoms I like. That was not a great one at all. But then I moved on from that one and we went through the rest of them. And I quite like the way it just seems like a cute little idea of what like married life is like. Like, it does sort of give off a sense of reality. Like, there's an episode where what was it? I can't remember her name. Carrie is the wife. Yeah, Carrie picks up the phone. Like, they're both in the living room, and Carrie picks up the phone, and she kind of goes like, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, cool, bye, or something like that. Just like a little bit nonchalant. And then Doug's like eyeing her up, and she's like, what? And he's like, I don't like the way you answer the phone. She's like, excuse me, how do you answer the phone? And he goes, hello. She's like, you do not answer the phone like that. You do not do that. And then they're like arguing about it, but it's like, it's really endearing to the idea of like, that's such a simple kind of funny. It's not even an argument, it's just like this little spat of like, no, and it was just like, that seems really real, and that's cute. I like that. So yeah, I think it's just like a cute, wholesome show. So I'm probably gonna have to give that a 4, if not 5 out of 10, because we're just starting it. Really, I've not really watched it before, but it seems cute. But we're not their favourite yet or anything yet. But and then that second episode was not a good one, so we'll give it a 4 for now. Maybe it can change my mind later on. Everybody Loves Raymond. That's another old one. Again, I probably would give it like, oh, Milo's woken up. Hey, Milo. Who's your good girl? Oh. That's it. Okay, she's chilling. Everybody Loves Raymond as well. That was a good show. I think I found it really funny. It was very much like a Sunday morning kind of show, and I did find it funny. And like, it's one of those ones where it's like, if I'm ever in a hotel and they don't have like a smart TV and they have like the old channels, Everybody Loves Raymond will just like be on, like normally on like 4 or something, and I'll always watch it if it's there. It's just like a cute little show. Family dynamics were awful. Like, it was just Ray moaning that he exists with his wife, his poor wife, complaining that he never does anything, and then the parents just butting in all the damn time. So it was just not like, you wouldn't want your family to be like theirs, but it was funny. That, along with Frasier, was another, yeah, as I say, like Sunday morning. Frasier, so Everybody Loves Raymond, let's go, say 4 out of 10. Frasier is a good show as well, an old show. I don't know it in depth, but I have seen a bit of it. Sunday morning sort of vibes, and it's funny. Yeah, it's just kind of like, but it gives off sometimes the pretentious vibes from like Frasier and Niles, yeah, but that's a good show. I do like that. They're funny. They're very funny actors. Like, they're very expressive, and that is funny. So I'll give that one a 5 out of 10. That one's a good one. And then The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Again, haven't watched tons of that one, but I mean, everyone knows the song. I absolutely still love the song. The song's on like my 90s playlist as well, so I'll always listen to that one. The show itself, don't know in full, but when I have watched it, I have found it, again, like Will Smith went back then, was just brilliant. It was just so, again, it was so expressive. I love Carlton and the dance and all of that, yeah, and Uncle Phil, Ashley, yeah, like I love all of them. Yeah, they were good. It was a good show. I haven't watched tons of it, that's the only thing. So I'll give it a 6 out of 10. That was a good one. So yeah. Right, okay, so let's move on to the next little category. So that is all of the shows that I have like watched and could rate properly. So like, this is the thing, there are loads of other shows. There's like, obviously, Modern Family, not watched it. There's Parks and Rec, I've not watched that. There's loads of those sort of shows. I'm sure I will probably love them, but I've just not either gotten around to it, they've not just been available in the UK, they've just not been available to me, or whatever, like, but I haven't watched all of them. But so that's all of the ones I could actually rate. So I am up for any suggestions if you want to suggest. But we're going to move on to some British ones. So first British one, The IT Crowd. The IT Crowd, I don't know how famous that is in America. I know that they tried to do a pilot or something of it in America, bit like The Office, and I don't think it was very good, so it didn't ever make it, I think, perhaps, I'm not sure, but I love the British one. I mean, Richard Ayoade is the absolute best, funniest man alive. He's so funny, and he plays Moss so brilliant, because Moss is just such this little innocent boy, but not in a weird, odd way. Like, he's definitely like asexual and just, but the innocence of him, it doesn't seem weird in the sense of like creepy. It's very endearing, but but he is so funny. And but they're both, all three of them are so funny. Like Chris O'Dowd is so good. I think there's something about having like his like accent next to the others as well that just really enhances it. He's so funny. And then obviously you've got God's sake, her name is Catherine, the actress. What is her character name? Jen, that was it. Jen, yeah, Roy and Moss, that's it, yeah. Jen is brilliant because she just gives off real, again, like relatability. Like she's just weird, but she doesn't know anything. She just sort of somehow gets away with working there without knowing anything. But I think of the three of them, it's not actually any of them that is my favourite. I think my favourite is the boss, Denham Renham, something like that. Yeah, Denham Renham, I think is his name, is the boss of Renham Industries. After like season 1, or like, I think, yeah, because season 1 there is another guy, and then it's like that's his dad, even though they look the same age. But then like he goes or something, and then Denham replaces him, and he is just so funny. He is so funny, so many quotes, and just so expressive and ridiculous. Like he's so ridiculous, but it just makes it so funny. So yeah, if you haven't watched that one, I promise you're gonna love that one. That is such a good one. And if anything, watch it from like season 2 onwards, because it's so good when Denham gets there. So yeah, absolute favourite, that one. Probably a 7 or an 8 perhaps. I think I would say it's one of my favourites, so I'd probably say like, I'm almost tempted to actually give it a 9. Actually, I'm going to give it a 9. I can't think of any reason why I wouldn't give it. Like, I still probably don't know it word for word, and the fact that I don't like one of the seasons, or it's not that I don't like it, it's just like I prefer other seasons, if that makes sense. Maybe maybe an 8 or a 9 for the IT crowd. Next British one is The Inbetweeners. Absolutely love The Inbetweeners. It is just, again, gives off offensive, I mean, it is it's almost, it's not offensive in a, I mean, no, it is offensive in a trying to be offensive kind of way, to a point, mainly just Jay, but like Jay and Neil, but just Neil's got innocence about it. He's just like, unfortunately, just friends, but he doesn't, yes, it's an odd one, but they're so funny. just the stories that they get into, they're just so gross and boyish, but it is funny. The movies are really great as well, so that's a really good one to watch, just for like simple ones. Yeah, if The Inbetweeners is ever on, that's always a good one to watch. So yeah, love The Inbetweeners. A 7 or an 8, because it's boy humour, like, and I'm a girl, like, so I do find it so funny, but I am a bit of a girly girl, so maybe I don't relate. Maybe it's more of that, so it's like, that's why it gives a 7 or something. But it's like the holidays in the movies I relate to more, because I've done those holidays before. So that, yeah, but anyway. The next British one is Only Fools and Horses. Now that is a really old show. That is like the 80s. So there is material in there that is offensive, but it's based on the times. So you kind of forgive it in a way. That is like a show that my dad loved, and so it's probably just that, like, you just watch it because I just sort of grew up watching it a bit. But having said that, I have watched it in recent times, and I have died at laughing at some of the scenes. Some of them are absolutely ridiculous, and in a way I don't want to spoil it. Like, I kind of don't want to tell you anything, just in case, because go and watch it. Like, there's so many funny ones on there. Yeah, so it's one of those ones where sometimes you have to take it with a little pinch of salt, in the sense of, like, it was written back then. Some of the material is going to be a little bit outdated. The way that they perhaps talk about women or whatever isn't the way we'd like it today, but they didn't really care about that back then. So so you take it with a pinch of salt, but when you watch the comedy moments, because it's like the comedy is not like making fun of women, if that makes sense. It's kind of like the comedy is something else. It's more about how they're an idiot or something. So it'll be something like that. But Only Fools and Horses is a classic. It's so funny. So yeah, I'd go watch that one. So the next one is Derry Girls. Derry Girls is brilliant. It's so funny. It almost in a way feels like a girl version of The Inbetweeners. Just in the chaoticness of, or the chaos of their kind of what they get up to, if that makes sense. But it's set in Northern Ireland, and yeah, it's just, I mean, it's set in the 90s, and it's just, yeah, I just love it. It's such a good one. You got Nicola Coughlan in that show as well. Yeah, it's such a good show. Yeah, we love that one. So that's a good one as well. Okay, last category before we wrap up this episode, because this is a long episode. I didn't actually think I was going to ramble this long, but anyway. Last category is just animated shows. So, I am an absolute avid fan of Seth MacFarlane. I absolutely adore most, if not all, his work. I mean, I say all his work. I have since Googled, and he's done a lot that I have not seen. But I love, but everything I have watched of his, I have loved. So it makes me think, oh, okay, so I can't imagine there'd be things you've made that I wouldn't love. So, yeah, I don't know who's to say why. I just love his style, his comedy. I just love the way he writes and creates, and I just love it, absolutely everything. And then I love the fact that he's such a good voice actor as well. So yeah, love Seth MacFarlane. So naturally, Family Guy is an absolute favourite. This is why I wasn't sure about this, because it's like, is this classed as a sitcom? Because it kind of is, but it's an animated. So this is why I'm going to just say them, but I wasn't sure, is it classed as a sitcom? But either way. But yeah, Family Guy, one of my all-time favourites. I'm probably going to say 9 out of 10. I would be close to 10 out of 10, but there are some seasons that I'm not crazy into, or can crazy remember. My favourites are probably, but then I would probably say the same with Sunny in Philadelphia, although there are most of them I love. So actually, probably not true about that. But Family Guy, I don't know all of the ones from season 18 and onwards, but then I have watched them, so I don't know. Now, I do find Family Guy so funny. Again, I just love that, they take the mick out of everybody, so it's just brilliant, and it just, yeah, so funny. So it does mean that American Dad I also love. I get really obsessed with the musical numbers of, again, I love the fact that Seth is a musical guy, because I'm such a musical person as well. So all of the numbers, all of the musical numbers and songs and that they do for Family Guy, I love, and I know most of the words to most of their songs. And then you've got in American Dad, you've got Steve, who just breaks out into R&B songs all the time, and he's brilliant. I did actually watch Ted as well, which was the film, but then they did make it into a show, and I watched that recently, and that was really good. And I was really upset to hear that they weren't going to renew it, because apparently it was really expensive to make, which was such a shame, because it was actually really good. It had Alana Eubank in that, and no, absolutely. And then it was Scott Grimes, who plays Steve in American Dad. He was the dad in Ted. So that's a funny other one as well. Probably give that a 6 out of 10. 6 or a 7 out of 10. But then American Dad is not as popular to me as Family Guy, so American Dad is probably a 7 or an 8 out of 10. The Cleveland show is so funny. That was such a shame that only lasted a few seasons. I find it really funny. But it's probably still not a die-hard one. I don't know it off the top of my head, so probably give that like a 7 out of 10. But it's the same humour, so it's just like, it really makes me laugh. And I love those sort of shows where the families are really cool. Like Family Guy, the family dynamic is not good. Like, you would not want your family to be like Family Guy. I relate to Meg a lot. Like, I tend to get shut up all the time, like shut up Meg all the time. And I am the sister to 2 brothers, so like it does make sense. And yeah, so, but awful, yeah, like not the best family. Whereas Cleveland show, I loved the family in that. Like, I loved like this kind of mixed family of Donna and her 2 kids, and then him and Cleveland Jr. But they all just became mates. I love Rallo. Is it Rallo? He's so cute. Somehow this animated baby is like, compared to like Stewie, who is just not cute, he looks like an old man, and then you got Rallo and he's like so cute. That could have been a fun like spin-off, like Rallo and Stewie or something, but you know, anyway. But yeah, I was really bummed when they didn't continue that show. Now, it's not a Seth MacFarlane show, but one of those guys was from Family Guy. So Bob's Burgers, love Bob's Burgers. Different kind of show, obviously, different kind of style of animation, and not the same guy or anything like that, but he worked with Seth MacFarlane, so, you know, it's a bridge. But I love theirs. Again, the family dynamic, you'd just want your siblings to be like that, or you'd want your kids to all like act like that and just be funny and care about each other so much. And yeah, it's just really funny. And they've got, Bob's Burgers is probably the best pilot. I think a lot of people have said that before, is that like Bob's Burgers has got one of the best pilot episodes. It's just so, the back and forth, it's so funny. So yeah, I really love me some Bob's Burgers. So yeah, I would say Cleveland, yeah, I said about 7 or something. I would say Bob's Burgers probably gets an 8. Do love Bob's Burgers. Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is brilliant. I do love Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is one of those weird shows. Now, see, with Family Guy and American Dad and all those ones, if a new season comes out, I'm not like crazy, like, oh, I have to watch that. It's kind of just like, oh, cool. And like when we get there, I'll enjoy them and that'll be that. But there's nothing crazy, like there's no story arcs to like Family Guy or American Dad. They're just each episode as they come. You know, there's nothing that you could watch in like a later episode of Family Guy that wouldn't have made a difference, other than perhaps like some of the characters dying or something. Like, other than that, there's not really like anything you're going to miss. Whereas Rick and Morty, I mean, sometimes they have their episodes where they're kind of just that episode and that's it, but they have such a story arc with like bits about like there's evil Morty and there's just all these like plot twists about what's actually happening. Whereas for Rick and Morty, if I was like, oh, Rick and Morty, there's a new season, I'd be like, I have to watch that immediately, because there is a bit like, what is the drama, what's going on now? And I'm actually quite liking that. I think it's smart. I don't know whether I'm just not smart enough to think it's not or something, but like I think it's what's smart. And toxic in a way, but like again, it's kind of just like really smartly written. But yeah, I just really enjoy that show. So that's a 7 or an 8 for me. Maybe even an 8 or a 9 for me. I'll say an 8 because that's a go-to. I do go back to that one a lot. I love Summer, probably the best. Oh, and actually I will really quickly chat about Jerry, because Jerry, justice for Jerry. Jerry, I think they did do it in the end, because like in seasons like 1 to 3, I think, or maybe seasons 1 and 2, I'm not even sure, maybe like seasons 1, but early ones anyway, Jerry was portrayed as this like wet blanket of a man, just holds no cards, is just super plain, boring, contributes nothing, like, you know, there's nothing interesting about him, and he gets treated as such as well. And you do, and I remember when I was younger and I would watch it and I was like, ugh, like Jerry is like, can't he just like be a bit better, like what not. Like, and the arguing with Beth, you know, I'd watch it and be like, Beth is just putting up with this man baby, and he's just threatened by his, like, her dad and all this stuff. And I was just like, why is she with him, and obviously they split up. And then I've watched it since, like, a little bit older, and I've gone back to those season 1, season 2, like, arguments, and I was like, oh my god, Jerry was right the whole time. Like, Jerry was right. Like, there was an argument in their, like, basement about there was an alien or something in the attic or whatever, and they had started off an argument, and she was, like, basically defending her dad the whole time, and he's like, this is ridiculous, our kids are getting dragged across the cosmos in the most dangerous of situations, and we have to endure it, and I have to watch my kids perhaps die because you can't let go of your psycho dad, and you can't, you know, you're putting everybody into danger, and I'm watching my kids and you, and it's like, and I never heard that. I only heard Beth, like, talk about how he was being horrible to her father. And I was like watching it, and obviously watched more of the show to realise what an arsehole he is. And then going back to those early ones, it's like Jerry saw it the whole time. And Jerry was trying to show Beth he is not a good guy. And I'm so glad that Beth, like, finally worked that out, and then like still had them in their lives and whatnot, but like they worked that out. They're like, no, you're a prick, and actually you should be begging to be in my life rather than the other way around. So justice for Jerry. Jerry did that, and every time I've watched him, I'm going, he's such a nice guy. Like, he bakes at Christmas, and he keeps bees, and he's just wholesome, and really he's just nice, and he just wants nice things in life. And every time he's like just joking around, he's just a really nice human, and everyone else that's laughing at him is just like, you're a dick. Don't laugh at people when they're just having fun and they're just enjoying life. So anyway, ran over because this is getting crazy now. But yeah, I actually love Jerry. I think he is a bit of a weirdo, and a bit of a like, you know, he could be a little bit more badass sometimes. But you know what? No, we take him as he is. And I remember there was a line where I think they were bullying him or something like that, and like Beth and Rick were bullying him, and she didn't mean it or something, so she was like, I'm sorry, like, I love it when you're weird and stupid or something like that. I love it when you do these things or whatever. And he goes, why can't anyone just love me for me? Oh. Yes, Jerry, you deserve that. You really do deserve that. And so yeah, anyway, ran over. So yeah, Rick and Morty do love. Anyway, let's move on. Right, last one we'll talk about, and then we'll end this video. The last one we're going to talk about is Has Been Hotel. Now, is this a sitcom? I think it is still kind of a sitcom, but it's kind of a comedy drama, because because I kind of think of a sitcom as like each episode is its like own story to a certain degree, and then this Has Been is like the story is over the whole season, so it's more of like a drama. It's like a comedy drama rather than like a sitcom where it's like, no, each episode is its own story. I could be so wrong on that though. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I've always envisioned it. So then maybe that Has Been's not a sitcom, but I'm just going to talk about it anyway. I was informed about Has Been Hotel through GB ASMR. She was talking about shows and she mentioned it, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Musicals, I love musicals. I watched the first episode and I was like, are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me right now? I was absolutely in love. Watched the whole thing. I showed some of my friends, and they did find it funny, but then they weren't into musicals as much as I was, so they kind of didn't get into it. I watched it so much, and then I found out that my brother watched it, and then we were just obsessed, and we were singing the songs all the time. The songs are so brilliant, and I often have the soundtracks for both season 1 and 2 as like general, like if I'm like cleaning, if I'm like doing chores or whatever, and I have like, I'm thinking, oh, what should I put on? Sometimes I'll put on the Has Been Hotel soundtracks, because I know them all pretty much word for word now, all the songs, and And the story is brilliant. I just think the story, again, it's dark as well. It's dark humour. And yeah, I just think it's brilliant. The songs are just my favourite though. I think that's my main reason for loving it. But I still think it's brilliant writing, brilliant voice acting as well. So that gets a 9, if not a 10. In fact, I would say a 10. I'm going to say a 10 because I absolutely adore that show. I love all the characters in it. Who's my favourite? I feel like Alistair's my favourite. But I need to see a little bit more redemption from him, because we haven't got the best redemption from him at the moment. Not gonna lie, not my favourite character, but my favourite singing character from season 2 was Vox. I mean, that guy, oh my goodness, the singing was insane, and he's the best songs. So it was definitely Vox, but obviously we don't like Vox as a character. I love Charlie. I relate to Charlie. I feel like I'm always that really happy one when everyone else is like, can you tone it down a little bit, please? So I'm hoping I'm not as crazy as Charlie is, but I definitely relate to her. Yeah, no, I love them all, but yeah, I would say that's probably a good way to end on it. 10 out of 10 show. 10 out of 10. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this absolute ramble of my favourite sitcoms. I would love any suggestions if there's any good ones, if I've missed any. I've probably also missed some comedies that, again, I perhaps more think they are like a comedy drama rather than like a sitcom. Because I remember when I was googling like different sitcoms, and it was saying like, it said like The Good Place, which I have watched and I loved, absolutely adored that show. But to me, that's not a sitcom, that's like a comedy drama, because it's like the story is the whole show rather than like a sitcom is each episode. So this is why I was like not sure whether to bring up Has Been, because it's not really a sitcom. So if that makes sense to anybody, and then they want to suggest shows like what I would expect to say, like Parks and Rec, One Family, I haven't seen those two, and then like anything else, perhaps if there's any other ones out there that are would be recommended, I am all for it, because I love ones like that, and especially if they're like dark humour as well. Yeah, I do like my dark humour. I'm currently watching The Boys right now. Not a comedy. I mean, it is a little bit, but it's not really. It's like a drama, but it is absolutely horrendous. Like, it is not a show for children at all. It is so ridiculous, but it is funny. Like, I am finding it funny. But anyway, we're not going to get into that. That's a different video. But yeah, yeah. I hope this has been nice. I hope my voice has been all right. I hope you have a lovely rest of your evening, or hopefully if you've gone to sleep, you have sweet, sweet dreams. All right. Good night, everybody.